I just want to welcome you guys here. Thank you. I know that um, 1 o'clock is kind of a strange time because people are working. I get that. But this time just happened to kind of work out for me because my kids are at school. Um, okay, now it's telling me that the frame rate, I don't know what's happening here. Facebook, you are supposed to do all this stuff for me. Anyways, um, that's what my daughter says all the time. Anyways, um, so my name is Jenna. I am part of a blended family, and altogether we have 6 kids. I know it sounds like a lot, but only 3 of them live with us, and the 3 that live with us are 12, 7, and 5. I actually homeschool 2 of the little ones, but they go to campus once a week, and so we just, you know, today was the only time is when they're at school. Actually, I have one here. She's already done, but we also just got a chocolate lab puppy, and she is so cute, but she needs a lot of attention. Um, all that to say that we are a busy house. And so that's one of the reasons why I created this group. I know that moms are busy and trying to take care of everyone else, and sometimes it's hard to take care of ourselves. And that's why I became a nutrition coach, exactly because of that. Because it doesn't have to be hard to reach your goals. In my opinion, meal prepping is overrated, and I enjoy not having to worry about what I'm going to eat at a restaurant on date night. I come from a background of bringing my own food to parties. I was that person. And honestly, not wanting to go on date night with my husband because I was too worried that I would ruin my diet. I've also been on the other side of that, and I've been on vacation with some friends who are dieting. And let me just say, it affects everyone. So please do not diet on vacation. Vacation is a time to enjoy yourself, please. Okay, so let's talk about macros. I'm going to make this simple. I'm going to try and make it fast because I know that we're all busy, okay? So, what are macros? Macros is short for macronutrients. And there are 3 macronutrients that, for the most part, make up our food. Each macro has its own unique function and will comprise a different percentage of your total calorie intake based on your goals, okay? So, I'm going to explain this to you. The first macro that we have is protein. Protein is essential to our bodies, and our bodies are always breaking down and rebuilding new proteins. And while our bodies have the ability to store carbohydrates and fats, we can't store protein the same way. So, protein is broken down in our body, and it's broken down into amino acids. And if you're not getting enough protein, then your body isn't getting enough amino acids. And amino acids are the ones that help your body heal and function properly. Okay, so in order to know how much protein that you should be consuming, first you'd have to look over your caloric intake. You have to look and see, are you resistance training? How old are you? What's your body weight, your composition? All of these things factor into how much protein that you should be having. So your protein intake will vary based on your goals, but usually 0.7 to 1.2 grams of pounds per body weight is preferential. Okay, so you'll do the math on that. Okay, the more physically active that you are, obviously, the more protein that you're going to need. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, so then we have fats. Fats are actually pretty important when it comes to our hormones. Between you and me, you and us, too much fat can cause men to have man boobs because their body is producing too much estrogen. Fat feeds estrogen. Do not tell your husband I said that, please. Fat has several functions in the diet. It's an energy source. It helps with hormonal production, formation of cell membranes, and it's a nervous system support. Okay, so eating fat has many health benefits, but eating too much can cause the excess fat to be stored in your body tissue, and we don't want that. Okay, again, depending on your goals, fat should be 20 to 70% of your calorie intake. And that's a big range. And this is why macro calculators aren't the best, because it doesn't factor in you, your lifestyle, your goals, your body composition, and your hormones, and etc. Okay. Next, we have carbohydrates, in which everybody loves to demonize. Am I right? But listen, carbs are a significant source of energy to our bodies. Now, they aren't essential, meaning that we don't need them to survive. I mean, I do, but just kidding. But there's so much to say about carbohydrates, but I'm going to save that for another day. The truth is that there is no optimal goal for carb intake. It all depends on what your protein and your fat intake is. So carbs also play a role, listen to this, in the stress hormone known as cortisol, which is your fight or flight hormone. Okay. So listen, when we're stressed, our cortisol levels are up, and then we stress eat carbs. Why? Because carbs help lower our cortisol levels. Okay. So that makes sense, because our body just craves carbs when we're stressed. And sometimes we realize it and sometimes we don't. But that just means that our cortisol levels are high and that they need to be lowered. Also, like if you work out at night and then you try going to sleep and you can't because you're so awake, that's because your cortisol levels are high. And so you need to eat a carb to lower those. But we'll save that for another day. Let's not get too complicated. Okay, so we covered what macros are. They're made of 3 macronutrients, which are protein, fat, and carbohydrates. Now, once you have your macro prescription, can you eat whatever you want as long as it falls into your prescription? The short answer is yes. However, the more quality foods you eat, the less hungry you'll be all day. Okay, so like say you eat like cereal. Cereal is more of a lower dense food, so the calories are higher, but it doesn't fill you as much, which I think you guys get what that means. So the next question is, how do you track your macros? A lot of people like to use MyFitnessPal. I use this with my clients, and there's so many other apps that you can use nowadays. But if you want to start tracking your macros, I would recommend getting a food scale. I'll actually be doing another training on how to track your food in MyFitnessPal, so keep an eye out for that. I know that sometimes that can be kind of complicated, especially when you're first starting out. Okay, so friends, that is the bones to macros, the basics. I wanted to keep it super short, so I know that we're all busy, and long videos are kind of hard to watch for me anyways. And so I hope that covered some of your questions that you had. I hope that you learned something from this training today. And as I mentioned in the post, I will be giving away $200 scholarship to whoever joined live. Now I know 1 o'clock is a hard time to join, so I'm going to try and see what other times I can do. So if you're watching the replay, make sure that you join live next time. Okay. Also, if you have anyone that you know that would benefit from this video or group, add them to Macros for Moms. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next time.